Hello, what's up everyone? Welcome back to another video. Now today I'll be showing you how to make these delicious treat using one dough. Let's get started. So here I have some bread flour, I have some milk, and over here I have my eggs, my yeast, I have some butter, I have some sugar and some salt. So I'm just going to go ahead and start off with warm milk. I'm going to add that to my mixer with some sugar and the yeast, and I'm going to allow this to poof for about 5 to 10 minutes. Now my yeast is nice and poofed. I'm going to go in with my eggs, my salt, and I'm going to give this a good whisk to combine. And here I'm using bread flour, but if you don't have bread flour, all purpose works just fine. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to start off on low because you don't want to start off on high or you're going to make a big mess. So I'm going to start off on low and allow my dough to come together before adding my butter. Now I'm going to go ahead, add my softened butter, and I'm going to mix on medium to high until everything is fully incorporated and the dough is nice, soft and stretchy. Now this is the consistency you want your dough to have. It might look a bit wet, but it's perfectly fine. So here I'm going to grease the bowl and I'm going to allow my dough to poof for about 45 minutes to an hour. It's pretty warm weather today, so my dough didn't take as long time to poof. This poof in about 40 minutes, but depending on the texture of your house, you need at least 40 minutes to an hour. Now I'm going to go ahead, cover it plastic wrap and set it aside. Now my dough has tripled in size. I'm going to go ahead and show you what's next. So I'm going to go ahead and separate my dough into 3 equal parts, or what I think is 3 equal parts. I tried, but hey, no need to be perfect here. So I'm just going to go ahead and divide this up into 3 parts. And now for my first section of the dough, I'm just going to go ahead and make my first item. So here I'm making a loaf of bread. I'm just going to roll this out a bit just to stretch it out so I could roll and form my bread into a nice uniform log. You don't need to be perfect here. Just roll and tuck until you roll up everything. You just want to make sure that it's the size of the pan that you are baking the bread in. Actually, I'm baking a semi-small bread today because, as we said before, I'm using one dough to show you how to make 3 things. So I'm going to go ahead and pinch the seal so it doesn't open up in the oven when it's baking. Now that I have a nice log, I'm just going to go ahead, grease my baking dish and place it in and allow this to poof in a nice warm place. Now onto my second item. Here I'll be making some cinnamon rolls. So here I have some softened butter, some sugar and some cinnamon, and I'm just going to go ahead and mix this into a paste. Of course, you could just spread your butter out and just add cinnamon and sugar on top, but this one is pretty much easier for me. Now I'm going to go ahead and try to attempt to roll this out in a square-like shape. As I said before, it doesn't have to be perfect, but we want to work with somewhat of a rectangle or a square. So I'm just going to go ahead and add my cinnamon sugar mixture to my dough, and I'm going to try to get it in a pretty much even layer. Now I'm going to start rolling from the bottom. You want to start rolling in small amount. You don't want to do too much at once. You want to roll and tuck to achieve nice swirl. If you roll it too loose, you're not going to have nice cuts. So you want to roll it firm enough. And then pinch to seal the edges. And of course you could cut this up in however much you like, but I want some nice thick cut cinnamon roll today, so I'll be dividing mine up into 6 parts. Now I'm going to place this in my baking dish and cover and allow this to double in size while I work on the next part. So here I'm going to make some donuts. Now I'm just going to cut my other half into 6 equal parts or semi-equal parts. This doesn't have to be even, and I'm just going to roll it and then add my finger to it. So now this technique is if you want to make donuts and you don't have a donut cutter, you don't actually need a donut cutter. You just want to do it just like this. And just in case, let me tell you how I do it. You want to roll it and form it into a nice firm ball. Make sure that it's nice and firm. Then once it comes together in a nicely shaped circle or whatever you want to call it, you want to poke your index finger in it. Then when you see your finger through the other side, you just add and roll, and you have some nice donuts without a donut cutter. And you're going to continue on with everything until you're all done. Then you want to set this aside to double in size while you preheat your oil for frying. I'll be using some vegetable oil, and here the dough is nice and ready. So this is going to go into the oven. It's going to bake at 350 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes. My oil is nice and ready, and I'm going to go ahead and drop my donuts. Once they're nice and brown on one side, I'm going to flip these over and allow them to get nice and brown on the other side. I allow these to go for maybe 2 minutes on each side. These cook up real quick, so you don't want to turn your back on these. And I'm going to continue on until everything is done. Now I'm going to go ahead and dip this in some plain sugar. Of course, you could spice your sugar up with some cinnamon, but I like it just like this. And there you have it, your nice homemade donut, fresh from your house. Now the bread is out of the oven. I'm just going to go ahead and just brush on a little bit of butter to allow this to look nice and shiny. And I'm going to use a brush to evenly distribute that butter and allow it to cool down a little bit before I move it from the pan. Now my cinnamon rolls are done. I'm going to make my cream cheese frosting. Here I have some softened cream cheese and a little bit of softened butter. I'm going to whisk until it's nice and creamed. Then I'm going to add some powdered sugar, a little bit of vanilla, and I'm going to whisk again until this is nice and smooth. And that's it. My cream cheese frosting is that easy. Of course, if you want, you could use a hand mixer, but because I'm about to indulge, I feel like working out before I enjoy it. Okay, guys? Now you just want to take your spoon and spoon that nice, delicious cream cheese frosting all over your cinnamon roll. You want to get it in all the crevice and crevice of the cinnamon roll. And that's it, your cinnamon roll is ready. These smelled amazing, and guys, they tasted amazing as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut into my bread and show you the texture of the bread. Now this bread, you could have it any day of the week. You could use this to make French toast, whatever you like. It's always fresh and it's homemade. I did went ahead and enjoy this with some butter, and let me tell you, that was so good. For me, guys, bread and butter is a must. Now let me show you everything else. This is what they're looking like, and these were pretty tasty. Try the recipe and let me know down below what you think about it. All right, now I'm just gonna go ahead and show you the texture of these donuts. They were soft, fluffy, and delicious. You can't just have one. You're gonna want to go back for seconds. These are absolutely delicious. So guys, if you like this video so far, don't leave without giving me a big thumbs up, share it, like it, and also leaving me a comment. Now let me show you the cinnamon roll. Now this one was awesome as well. Like, listen, I try not to eat it all, but hey, I did. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one.